the small coastal town of Seabrook was known for its serene beaches and closely knit community. In this peaceful setting, Emily and Michael eagerly awaited the arrival of their first child. Their life, until then calm and predictable, was about to change forever. The big day arrived unexpectedly. The pains of labor began early on a Tuesday morning, catching Emily off guard. As Michael hurried to prepare everything for the hospital, Emily felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. At the height of labor, with Emily exhausted but determined, Clara, Michael's mother, who had been invited to witness the birth, dropped a bomb. "This is definitely not my son's child." The room, previously filled with tension and expectation, fell into shocked silence. Emily could hardly believe what she had heard. Her heart raced, not just from the effort of giving birth, but also from the confusion and doubt those words had sown. What did Clara mean? Why would she say something so disturbing at a time like this? In the following days, while adjusting to motherhood, Clara's phrase echoed in Emily's mind. She knew she couldn't ignore those words. Something inside her was compelling her to seek the truth, not just for her and her son, but also for the husband she loved so much. In the days that followed, Emily found herself immersed in thought. She began to discreetly investigate the past of Robert, her father-in-law, a man who had always seemed kind, but enigmatic. Robert had moved to Seabrook many years ago, under circumstances that now seemed suspicious. Emily's initial discoveries weren't very revealing. Robert had arrived in the town as a stranger, building his life and reputation from scratch. No one seemed to know much about his life before Seabrook. This mystery only fueled Emily's curiosity. As Emily dug deeper, she found vague references to a possibly turbulent past. There were rumors that Robert might have been involved in illegal activities before arriving in the town, but nothing concrete. However, the possibility left Emily unsettled. When Emily tried to talk to Clara about Robert's past, she encountered cold resistance. Clara evaded the questions, keeping her answers evasive and superficial. This attitude only increased Emily's suspicion. Despite the obstacles, Emily felt she was getting closer to something. She knew she couldn't give up now. The truth about her husband's family, whatever it might be, seemed essential to understand Clara's shocking declaration in the delivery room. As the weeks passed, Emily began to look at Michael in a new light. The man with whom she shared her life, her dreams, and now a child, seemed distant. Clara's statement during the birth had planted a seed of doubt that continued to grow. Small changes in Michael's behavior became more evident to Emily. He seemed worried, distracted, and at times avoided conversations about his family. Emily didn't know if these changes were related to Clara's declaration or if they were mere coincidences. One night, Emily gathered the courage to confront Michael. With their baby sleeping in the next room, she directly asked about his mother's statement. Michael appeared genuinely confused and denied knowing anything that could have prompted such a declaration. Despite Michael's denials, Emily couldn't shake off the feeling that something was being hidden. She began to feel isolated in her quest for the truth, pondering the loneliness that accompanies great revelations. Amid these trials, Emily found an unexpected ally. George, a longtime family friend and former business partner of Robert, approached her. He seemed to have something to say, something that might shed light on the shadows of the past surrounding the family. Encouraged by her conversation with George, Emily delved deeper into the investigation of Robert's past. She began visiting the local library and talking with older residents, seeking any clue that could shed light on the shadows surrounding her family. It was on a rainy afternoon in the library that Emily found the first concrete clue. A series of old newspaper articles mentioned a man with characteristics similar to Robert, involved in a fraud case in a neighboring town decades ago. The details were scarce, but the connection was undeniable. Emily's discoveries began to form a clearer picture. It seemed that Robert had a past he desperately wanted to hide, a past that could explain Clara's disturbing statement in the delivery room. The tension in the family grew as Emily continued her quest for the truth. Conversations with Clara and Robert became more tense and evasive. They seemed to know that Emily was getting closer to something they preferred to keep buried. Determined to confront the situation, Emily planned a family meeting. It was time to bring to light what was hidden and to confront Robert and Clara with her findings. She knew that the answers could change her family forever. With nerves on edge, Emily organized a dinner at her home. It was a cold autumn night, and the fallen leaves created a colorful carpet on the entrance path. The tension was palpable as Robert, Clara, and Michael arrived, unaware of what to expect. After dinner, with the baby already asleep, Emily initiated the confrontation. With the evidence in hand, she questioned Robert about his past. The silence that followed was dense, almost tangible. Finally, with a heavy sigh, Robert began to speak. Clara intervened, revealing that she knew about Robert's past even before they got married. She explained that Robert had changed his life, leaving behind the mistakes of his youth. The statement in the delivery room, according to her, was a moment of weakness and fear. The revelations were a blow to Emily. She felt betrayed, not just by the concealment of the truth, but also by the fact that Michael knew nothing about it. The tears and confessions that followed shook the family's foundation. The night ended with more questions than answers. Although some truth about Robert had come to light, Clara's statement about the baby remained a mystery. Emily was determined to discover the complete truth, no matter the cost. In the weeks that followed, Emily continued her relentless search for the truth. The revelations from that tumultuous night had opened new paths in her investigation, and she was determined to follow each one. Her persistence paid off when she discovered adoption records that had been carefully hidden. The truth was undeniable. Michael had been adopted. Robert and Clara had welcomed him as their own son when he was just a baby. Confronted with this new reality, Emily realized that Clara's words during the birth were not an accusation. a reflection of a deep and ancient fear. Clara feared that the truth about Michael's adoption might somehow affect his relationship with Emily and their grandson. The pieces of the puzzle were finally fitting together, but the revelation brought with it a range of complex emotions. While Clara and Robert dealt with guilt and regret, Michael struggled to accept his own story. Emily, though shaken, began to see her family in a new light. The truth about Michael's past didn't change the love she felt for him, but opened a space for understanding and forgiveness. Together, they began to navigate this new chapter of their lives. In the months that followed, Emily reflected on the tumultuous journey she had undergone. The revelations about her family's past had been painful, but they also brought new understanding and acceptance. She looked toward the future with a mix of hope and caution. As time passed, Emily and Michael began to rebuild their life together. The truth about Michael's adoption was not easy to accept, but it strengthened their bond. They decided that what mattered most was the love they shared and the future they would build for their son. Some family relationships were rebuilt, while others remained distant. Clara and Robert, though relieved to have shared their secret, still struggled with guilt. Their relationship with Emily and Michael went through ups and downs, but there were signs of healing. Emily reflected on how the legacy of the past had shaped her family in ways she could never have imagined. She understood that every family has its shadows and lights, and that love and understanding are essential to overcome adversity. The story ends with Emily looking at her son, thinking about the future. She knew there would be challenges, but also joys. Her family's past was complex, but the future was a blank book, ready to be written. The deliberately ambiguous ending left room for the reader to imagine the many possibilities that awaited Emily and her family.